Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Today, our group, which is group 5 from KAD1, will present to you about religion and beliefs in Malaysia. Our lecturer's name is Dr. Muhammad Rosmizi bin Abdul Rahman. So, before we proceed to our presentation, we would like to introduce our group members' name first. So, this is the name of our group members. The first one is Nawal binti Ishaq. The second one, Nur Amira binti Muhammad Amir. The third one, Siti Nur Alia binti Fauji. The fourth one, Nur Ardini binti Ahmad Rifdi. And the last one is Muhammad Farizwan bin Zaidi. Without any further, let's begin our presentation with the introduction.
In Malaysia, we had Islam with 63.3%, Hinduism 6.5%, Christian with 9.2%, and Buddhism 19.88%. As people live in Malaysia, we need to respect others' religions and their belief about their respective religions. After that, we will also study about religion and belief in Malaysia, their view or trust about life after death, faith in God and problem and challenging from Islam, Christian, Hinduism, Buddhism perspective. In this study, we will also can discuss and learn about others' religions and their belief.
My name is Muhammad Farizwan bin Zaidi. Matrix number 1213575. And now I will present about religion in Malaysia. The first religion in Malaysia is Islam. Muslim or adherent of Islam is doctrine, and now the world is second biggest religious group with 1.57 billion members, trailing Christianity is global population of approximately 2.3 billion. Allah is the same God that is worshipped by Jews and Christians, both monotheists in belief in only one deity. Before Islam, in the ancient Near East, the Arabic translation of the Old Testament, Hebrew Bible book of Genesis begins. In the beginning, Allah created the heaven and the earth. Point number 3, the 5 fundamental beliefs needed of Muslim are explained in detail in chapter 5. Number 1, belief in God is absolute unity. Number 2, belief in angel and their vital role as God is messenger and helpers. Number 3, prophetic messenger and divinely revealed creator. And number 4, the final judgment, including a doctrine of the last thing with some similarity to Zoroastrian, Jewish and Christian teaching. And lastly, number 5, divine decrees and predestination. The second religion is Christian. As Paul, the early church is spokesperson, expressed it. Christianity is good news about a historical person, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, who was born of the royal seed of David on the human side and shown to be the Son of God with authority by his resurrection from the grave. Point number 2, Ernest Renan, who although having little sympathy with the subsection of Luke is Gospel, hailed it as the most beautiful book in the world, and an act why not in the same sense beautiful perform a unique role not just within the New Testament but also within the corpus of global history. The third religion in Malaysia is Hinduism. Most Hindu traditions regard the Veda, a body of sacred literature, as revelation, though some do not. Some traditions regard certain ritual as necessary for salvation, while others do not. Some Hindu philosophy postulate a theistic reality who creates, maintains, and destroys the universe, while others do not. And number 2, Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of independent India, state that Hinduism is all things to all men, which is an accurate statement, but far too broad for our need. The fourth of religion is Buddhism. In the 6th century century, the Buddha resided in North India under the personal name Siddhartha. Siddhartha is in Sanskrit, and the family name Gautama. Gautama. And number 2, the Buddha died at the age of 80 at Kusinara, or modern Uttar Pradesh, India. Buddhism may now be found in Sri Lanka, Burma, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Tibet, China, Japan, Mongolia, Korea, Formosa, and Taiwan. And some regions of India, Pakistan, and Nepal, as well as the Soviet Union, were affected. The work of Buddhist population exceeds 500 million people.
My name is Siti Nur Alia binti Fauji, number matrix 12122057. Today I will present to you about life after death from Islamic, Christian, Hinduism and Buddhism perspective. First, Islamic. In the Quran, Allah promises every soul will taste it, then to us will be returned. As soon as human beings are buried and the mourners have filled in the grave and left, the angel of interrogation, which is Munkar and Nakir, appear. They ask the dead person, "Who is your Lord? What religion did you follow? And what was your prophet?" This is followed by a foretaste of the joys of heaven or the torments of hell. If heaven, the grave expands, become light and airy, and is filled with the sweet scents of heaven. If hell, the grave contracts, become dark and cold, and is filled with the stench of hell. Life in the grave or barzakh is understood in Islam as a timeless state in another dimension in which one awaits the resurrection. The state of barzakh is difficult fully to understand. After death, one enters into another realm that lies beyond our powers to describe. After dead believers, souls or spirits are taken to heaven because their sins are forgiven by having received Christ as Savior. For believers, death is to be away from the body and at home with the Lord. At the resurrection of believers, the physical body is resurrected, glorified, and then reunited with the soul or spirit. For those who do not receive Jesus Christ as Savior, death means everlasting punishment. Unbelievers also seem to be sent immediately, a temporary holding place to await their final resurrection, judgment, and eternal destiny. From a Hindu perspective, Hindus believe the self or soul, which is Atman, repeatedly takes on a physical body until moksha. In the afterlife, based on one's karma, the soul is reborn as another being in heaven, hell, or a living being on earth, which is human and animal. Goats too die once their past karmic merits run out, as do those in hell, and they return getting another chance of earth. Next, the Buddhism perspective. The Vedas believe that the real personality of the deceased, the soul, is not destroyed with the body during cremation or buried. It is regarded as imperishable. This may lead the Vedic Aryans to form some kind of belief in the survival of life after death. It seems probable that the dead were believed to have gone to some upper region or heavenly abode where they rest permanently. Hopkins summarizes that the Vedic conception of afterlife focus on the world of the fathers, which is a realm of the ancestors.
My name Nawal binti Ishaq. My matric number 121236. Today I would like to share to you guys about faith in God from 4 religions in Malaysia perspective, such as Islamic, Hinduism, Buddhism and Christianity. Firstly, in Islamic perspective, according to Quranic verse Surah Al-Ikhlas, Islam is reintroduction to the monotheism faith that believe in one God, that is Allah. Islam adds to the Quran and the Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Quran, often known as the recitation, is the divine revelation was conveyed to humanity via medium of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and is the foundational text of Islam. The Sunnah or Hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam serve as a second source of guidance. Furthermore, Muslims follow religious teachings very closely in their worship practice as the 5 pillars of Islam. Firstly, Shahadah. Secondly, prayer to Allah. Thirdly, Zakat. Fourthly, fasting during Ramadan. And lastly, perform Hajj in Baitullah. Secondly, Christian perspective. The majority of Christians believe in the doctrine of the Trinity, which is the God of Father, the God of Son, and the Holy Spirit. Christians are also associated with Jesus, who is seen as the founder of religion, and also believe that Jesus is the Son of a God sent to free mankind from the sin of inheritance. Lastly, Christian beliefs are based on the Bible, a collection of roughly 66 separate writings by a variety of others, compiled by early ecclesiastical that encompass the framework of the belief of the church. Thirdly, Hinduism perspective. Hinduism is the religion of polytheism that is believing in the existence of many gods. The concept of Hinduism is based on the Trimurti system. The adherents of this religion believe that according to 3 gods, they have their duty to do, which is Brahman, Vishnu and Shiva. However, under certain circles, there are also scholars who praise the concept of Henotheism. This Henotheism is like polytheism, which is to believe in many gods. But this Henotheism worship a god that is considered the greatest. For the Hindu religion, the god Brahma is the greatest god. Lastly, Buddhism perspective. Faith can refer to the devotion to a person as well as Buddhism ideas like the possibility of enlightenment and the efficacy of karma. Early Buddhism value a personal verification of spiritual truth as the highest way to attain such truth and consider sacred script, reason or faith in a teacher to be less valuable source of authority. Besides that, the Buddha is teaching the Dharma and eventually the group of spirituality, advanced adherents or the monastic community, seeking enlightenment. The Sangha were the 3 main objects of early Buddhist faith. And lastly, the bernama Tripitaka, also known as the 3 baskets of wisdom, is a source of information or religious text attribute to the Buddha.
Next, we will discuss about the problem and challenges religious tolerance in Malaysia. First, there is a group of individuals in Malaysia who do not comprehend the faith, which leads to a lack of knowledge of religious tolerance. Actually, in the Malaysian context, the subject of religious rights and sensitivities cannot be divorced from the debate over statutory law and the constitution. So, as a result, claims will have an indirect impact on the establishment of laws, heightening the difficulty of building a harmonious society in Malaysia. So the third point is about the uncertainty among Muslims and non-Muslims on the definition of tolerance has resulted in religious debates. Okay, according to the One Malaysia idea, every faith is honored as a show of respect for all Malaysians. However, the Malaysian community's lack of awareness regarding the concept's limitations eventually leads to many conflicts, such as the charge of apostasy and polytheism among Muslims. And for the example, wearing a kurta, which is a traditional Indian outfit by Malaysia's Prime Minister during Diwali celebrations, was once considered as often despite the fact that many Muslim residents in India wore these clothes. Next, the challenges of religious tolerance in Malaysia. It is said that the ambiguity of Malaysian legislation is an indirect source of the country's religious turmoil. In Malaysia, for example, conversion and apostasy obstacles and problems are closely related to the uncertainty of the civil and Sharia court authority. We can see the evidence at the third point that mentioned the study revealed that there are legal enactments that are inconsistent or overlap between civil and Sharia, making reaching a decision in a given case problematic. So the third point is about internal religious considerations also made adopting religious tolerance challenging. The findings of an intellectual survey suggested that religious tolerance could not be exercised in Malaysia due to Malay prejudices towards practitioners of religions other than Islam. In actuality, Muslims' failure to understand the notion of universality in Islam has led them to molest Malays, particularly during Malaysia's Islamic revival, as though tacitly rejecting non-Muslim and therefore cultivating a negative attitude towards Islamic teachings among them. Next, further aggravated challenges are seen when some people take advantage of current religious conflicts by offering a more aggressive proposal. Through the introduction of the teaching and understanding of religious pluralism as an approach to religious tolerance, through a more liberal or independent perspective, religious pluralism teachings and beliefs bring the idea that leads to religious equality solution. Or in other words, all religions are truthful and equal. Many researchers and believers refuse to analyze and assess supporters of religious pluralism. It is, however, definitely rejected since it requires rejecting and changing the essential concepts of religion or belief.
Conclusion: from these studies, we can know more clearly about each religion found in Malaysia. Second, more respect and understanding in the way of adherence to each religion. Third, put limit in any matter related to religion. Lastly, from these studies, we can gain knowledge about others' religions and their belief.
So that's all from our group. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day ahead. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.